Today we're covering what the carry-on crackdown is and how you can prepare for your next flight to avoid any unexpected fees and possibly even denied boarding. The carry-on crackdown has two main components that anyone with an international or domestic flight needs to know. The first component of the recent carry-on crackdown is the strict enforcement of the two-item quantity limit. This rule allows each passenger to bring one larger carry-on bag, like a rolling suitcase, and one smaller personal item, such as a backpack, purse, or laptop bag, onto the plane. Although it's not a new rule, the enforcement has recently become stricter, catching many regular travelers by surprise. For instance, Southwest Airlines, yes, the same Southwest Airlines that lets you check two bags for free, is now counting a camera and a blanket as a personal item, while claiming that nothing has changed and it's simply a clarification of their existing policy. The second big issue that travelers are facing in regards to the carry-on crackdown is the tight enforcement of size limits for luggage brought on board. Most airlines in the US allow a carry-on suitcase that's up to 22 by 14 by 9 inches, including the handles and the wheels. Personal items are usually limited to about 8 by 14 by 18 inches, although some airlines aren't clear on the exact size and indicate that it just needs to fit underneath the seat in front of you. You'll see sizing bins at check-in counters before going through security, as well as at the boarding gate post-security, to check if your bag fits within these dimensions. And if your carry-on suitcase doesn't fit, you may have to check it and then collect it at the baggage carousel after your flight, which could cost you extra and also increases the chance of your bag being lost, stolen, or damaged. And with checked luggage theft at an all-time high, you absolutely want to avoid having to check your carry-on suitcase. What has been frustrating travelers most is the confusion and the inconsistency around the new enforcement. Airlines have not been consistent, and each leg of your flight might enforce the rules differently. It's also confusing since every airline has its own set of guidelines for the maximum size and sometimes even the maximum weight of a carry-on and personal item bag. Another variation to navigate is that many basic economy tickets, even on major airlines like United Airlines, don't even include a carry-on suitcase anymore, and you are limited to traveling with just a single personal item bag. The good news is that there are simple strategies that will help you understand the exact carry-on rules for your specific flight, and some clever yet compliant tricks that are still effective even with the new enforcement. Tip number 1 is to take time to research airline baggage policies for your specific trip. It's important to verify the carry-on rules of the airline actually operating your flight, as they may differ from the airline that you booked with. If you book a flight from JFK to Honolulu on JetBlue's website, you might discover that the flight is actually operated by Hawaiian Airlines. In this case, you need to adhere to Hawaiian Airlines rules, which specify a carry-on limit of 9 by 14 by 22 inches and a weight limit of 25 pounds or 11 kilograms. If you're considering a connecting flight, keep in mind that it might involve different airlines, like one leg with JetBlue and another leg of your trip with Hawaiian. In this case, you'll be subject to JetBlue's rules for the first flight and Hawaiian Airlines rules for the second. The simplest strategy when you are flying with multiple airlines is to do your research and then plan your luggage so it adheres to the rules of the strictest airline. For a trip involving both JetBlue and Hawaiian, you can prepare by choosing a carry-on suitcase no larger than 9 by 14 by 22 inches to meet both airline size restrictions, and then you'll need to ensure that it weighs under 25 pounds to comply with Hawaiian's weight limit. As for your personal item, Hawaiian doesn't specify any specific dimensions, but JetBlue does, and therefore you'll want to make sure that your personal item bag is no larger than 8 by 13 by 17 inches to meet their maximum size limit. This approach guarantees that your luggage is going to be compliant with the rules of both airlines, which might help you avoid any issues at the boarding gate. It's going to help you prevent cases like what happened to a traveler recently on Spirit Airlines who was charged over $60 to check in her carry-on suitcase, and then that suitcase ended up being stolen by an airport employee. Another couple was recently denied boarding after they refused to check their carry-on bag at the gate since it contained essential medications. And with checked luggage theft at an all-time high, I do not blame them for not checking it in, but man, that's One way to ruin a vacation. Once you know the carry-on rules of your airline, the next tip is to strategically use your luggage allowance to the fullest without causing any drama at the boarding gate. For example, Southwest Airlines classifies a small camera, a blanket, or a full-size backpack as a personal item despite the size differences. When you can only carry one personal item onto the plane, please don't let it be a camera. A smart choice for maximizing your allowance and packing space would be to use a larger personal item bag like the Nomad Lane bento bag. You'll feel like you're beating the system since it's designed to fit under the seat in front of you while being able to hold as much as a small suitcase. I've been partnered with Nomad Lane for a long time now and have found that the bento bag is the ultimate, totally compliant hack for maximizing your personal item allowance. I also recently flew with the Nomad Lane Tomodachi sling bag as a sneaky third carry-on item with no trouble. Now don't get me wrong, if you do wear the sling as a top layer and it is visible, a gate agent is likely going to consider it a third carry-on item and you will be asked to place it in your carry-on suitcase or into your personal item bag to consolidate down to 2 items. However, if you don't overfill it, the small size allows it to be discreetly worn underneath a jacket. Luckily for us travelers, gate agents do not often ask you to remove any layers of clothing. That would be a PR nightmare. So wearing the Nomad Lane Tomodachi sling underneath your jacket is a carry-on hack that is still going to be effective under these new rules. Tip number 3 is one that frequent flyers love, which is taking advantage of the opportunity to gate check your carry-on rolling suitcase. Let us know down in the comments if you have ever gate checked a suitcase, and then if you haven't already, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button to join us back here for new travel tips every week. Now you definitely want to avoid having to pay and check a suitcase to baggage claim, but gate checking a suitcase is very different from regular baggage check-in. Instead of retrieving your suitcase at the baggage carousel, you'll pick it up right as you exit the plane, often on the jetway or the loading bridge. You'll want to look for a small label on your bag's handle, which indicates that it's being gate checked, as opposed to a usual printed baggage tag that would indicate it's going to baggage claim. Gate checking is quick, convenient, and it also saves you from boarding a flight and having to fight for any overhead bin space. You'll want to listen for announcements inviting volunteers to gate check their luggage, as it happens very often within 1 hour of boarding the flight, and it will almost always work in your advantage. If you are carrying more than the 2-item limit, such as a suitcase, a personal item, and a sling, once your suitcase is gate checked, you'll only be left with 2 items, the personal item bag and the sling, in which case you are well within the limit and you don't even need to be sneaky about wearing your sling underneath a jacket. So whether you plan to check a bag or you just want to be prepared for a case where your carry-on is checked in, you'll want to watch this video linked in the description as well as up here on the screen next, with 9 proven ways to prevent luggage theft from airport and airline employees. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel tips each week, and I'll see you in that next video soon. Bye!